Hello, it's been a while since I checked in. The holiday season has been coming in full force at work, and beyond that, I've been using every spare second I have to get the Maxim feature pushed out. That is finally done, so it opens up a little bit more room for flexibility. I think the only major thing that I've done since I last checked in was add these curtains into these openings. I think even very early in the moving vlog series, you may remember that there were curtains in these openings. At that point in time, I didn't really like how they looked or how they were installed, and they were just not really functional for me, so I removed them. Lately, as I've been working toward getting this side cleaned up more, I was wanting something that could kind of close off this more finished side, just make things look a little bit nicer in case I want to close off the mess. These door frames are a little bit tricky because they're not actually like framed out for an actual door size, so there weren't really a lot of options really made to fit. These ended up working pretty well. They achieved the function that I wanted, just a relatively simple, clean look, and they push off to the side and fold up really compactly in case I need to access more of the full opening. So that pretty much wraps up any updates. What I'm actually here to do is start making some display changes. I have all of my temporary spots back here filled with stuff that I've been trying to decide if I'm going to use, and I do need to start clearing it out. So as I said at the top, I'm done with the Falcon, and that is what was supposed to be going in place of the original. Obviously, I didn't get it done in time. I never know exactly when we're going to start getting slammed at work, so sometimes I have a little bit more time to play with. This year, that did not work out. Obviously, I used the pinion in the studio for National Ceiling Fan Day. It was a contender to replace the Strato, but then I would have had to figure out something else to use in the studio, and to be honest, I was getting down to the wire and didn't have time for that. So now I'm thinking I will put this up in place of the Strato, at least for now. I'm not sure how many new product features I'm going to be doing next year, so at least this will get something different put in that place. If I end up having an excess of things that I can swap it out with again later, I will do so, but as long as it's already assembled, I might as well utilize it at least for a while. This guy I knew I wanted to display after I was done with the original video for it, so I left it all assembled. I was thinking about putting it here, and then I considered maybe over where the Panama is, but I think I'm going to stick with this one. The storage location for the 1895 and back is still open, so I can just pop this right back in there. Again, it's my busy time of year. I'm trying to make this kind of quick and concise and not make a major mess out of everything, so that is going to be easiest. And then we have the Renegade. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw on National Ceiling Fan Day that I replaced this up in the sunroom with the Quorum Revel. I don't have intention of leaving the Revel up there for super long term, but I've been wanting to try something large scale up in that room for quite some time. The room itself is not that large, but with all the windows it feels very open and spacious. It can really take the scale of a larger size fan as long as it doesn't hang too low. The Revel was just kind of what I had on hand in the finish scheme that I was wanting to go with, that I could test it out. At 80 inches, I thought it was probably going to be too big and look a little bit ridiculous, but even that size actually works and looks pretty good, especially since it's only 5 blades. And I did put it on a shorter down rod to raise it up a couple of inches. Let me just run up there and insert a clip here so you can actually see it. While it does look surprisingly good, I think ultimately I'd like to go with something a little bit more like 70-inch, 72-inch, and depending on the finishes, also probably as few blades as possible. Now that I've been able to test the scale, I'm going to keep a specific eye on new introductions for 2026. Maybe find something that I'd like to work with that could ultimately go up there in a year or two. This Renegade really fit the finish scheme that I was going with up there initially, kind of more in the weathered woods, a little bit more industrial. Now I'm kind of leaning into a softer palette up there, kind of tying in the golds with the rest of the house. And while I did like these finishes out there, the fan itself always hung a little bit too low and always looked a little bit small for the space. Again, the room itself really feels larger than it actually is, and I think it really just needed a larger scale. But now this one is down, and I never displayed this because it went directly up into that installation. I've not done any new modern forms for a minute, so I'm going to take the opportunity to display this one. Actually, now with that considered, I'm kind of rethinking things. I have an idea for the Tiburon that I think I'm going to try at some point. I don't know what the timeline is going to be on that. So I will probably just pull this down and put it up in the back. But I was going to put the Renegade over there and the Falcon here. But I think I'm actually going to swap them. Over in the Tiburon spot, I don't really need any light distribution, whereas over here I like a little bit more outward cast. And the Renegade light kit is going to do much better for that. They're both 52-inch, so the sizing doesn't really matter. I think that pretty much covers everything I'm looking to do right now. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started taking the original down, and we'll go from there. Done with this one, moving on to the next. Another one is done. I am glad that I swapped where these two were gonna be. I think this layout works out better for what I need. Also got controls in place. I am done with this one. I decided to not take the 1895 entirely apart. I'm going to go ahead and do a 4K remake before it goes back into storage, so I went ahead and just set it down over here. I think I'm actually going to try to get this put up and maybe film that. That sort of leaves me uncertain on whether I'm going to get to the Strato swap out tonight. I've kind of been doing some other intermittent cleanup between what I've been installing here, so I'm starting to get a little bit short on time for the day, but I did get it pretty well cleared out back here. At least got a couple of spaces open for flexibility. I'm going to be starting with work on my next product spotlight, so I do need some space. That was kind of the goal of clearing this out. Considering that I am in my busy season, I'm not sure on the timeline for release on that. Even with the brand, I was very clear that I don't have a particular timeline. At this point in time, I'm probably just going to say that it's not going up until the new year, but I've been kind of holding off on getting started since I didn't have any space back here, and now I can get moving a little bit on that with any spare second that I have. I think that's going to be all I have for right now. If I happen to get back to that last change out, I will check back in, but otherwise I think I'm pretty much going to close it out for today. I do also think that I'm going to try to get a jump start on editing this video. If I do have enough to make this an approximately 10-minute video, I'll probably hop in at the end just to close out. I am not sure when I'm going to be back to vlogging. This season is very day-to-day, and if I would be able to get this one closed out and posted, I would absolutely do that instead of sitting on it for any longer than necessary. So whatever the case, I will likely be checking back in soon. Okay, I'm back for one final check-in. I don't think I'm going to have time to completely finish this up tonight, but I did at least get the pinion installed in this location. I will still have to come back and get the wall control put in. And for now, I've put the Strato back here. I'll get that packed up some other time. I did just end up with a couple of extra minutes and wanted to push as far as I could. So now I am definitely heading out for the evening, and I will be back with either more updates or to close out. Hello, I am stopping in just to close this video out. I have not had time for much of anything this holiday season. It's really a miracle that I've been able to keep up somewhat consistently with regular videos. The real craziness is starting to calm down a little bit, so I finally had some time to get through the footage at the beginning of this video. It's on the shorter end, but I want to get this one pushed out for you. I'm going to be focusing on that product spotlight that I mentioned earlier in the video, and then it's going to be right into Lightovation. So there's not going to be much time or additional content to put into this video, and a bunch of the footage is already pretty old, so I don't want to sit on that for any longer. So with that, thank you for watching, and thank you again for sticking with me through another crazy holiday season. Subscribe and ring the notification bell before you leave to get updates for all of my new videos, and I will see you next time. Click left to watch another vlog, or click right for my entire shop vlog playlist to start at the beginning.